In this video, I'm going to review and cover my experience in setting up the Steelmates compact greenhouse. It's also known as the Outsunny 845329. It's a a small compact backyard greenhouse system that I like the look of on the internet. It cost me $269 in New Zealand in April 2024. Current selling price online appears to be about 160 US dollars and about 156 pounds. I haven't covered the whole start because I've already gotten this far with the construction of it, and having gotten this far, I decided it was probably quite helpful to do a bit of a video on my experience so other people know what they're in for when buying this kit set. And I wasn't surprised for it to be challenging because the reviews of the Outsunny equivalent product were good in as far as the finished product, but almost all of them described finding the setup of the product very, very challenging. With the compact greenhouse, you get it all in a box, and inside, it was actually nicely packed and everything appeared to be in good condition. These are the last things that are still in the box that I haven't needed yet. There's some more pieces here. All my little fittings are in that container there, and a couple of items I've already built, and then the base and these bars here. And you get this instruction book. The instruction book is very, very light on actual instructions, and I actually have read it. Unlike a lot of people, I actually read through it, and the funniest thing is this thing about allowing at least 30 minutes for the construction. It probably took me 30 minutes to unpack the items and organize them, let alone 30 minutes to build. I don't know how long this has taken me to do. I've done it in a couple of sittings as time allowed, and my patience, because parts of this were incredibly frustrating, so had to walk away a few times to kind of recompose myself before carrying on. I would say it's taken me, I don't know, maybe 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours, to get this far. I'm lucky enough to do it inside. I have no idea what this would be like to do outside on the ground and the weather. So I found it quite easy, a lot easier to do inside. The booklet basically has the assembly instructions, allegedly. The main kind of written part in terms of written instructions are here. I'm still not sure if I'm going to need all of these things and the tools and equipment required, because most of them aren't actually mentioned or shown in any of the pictures. So I'm still trying to figure out where and when I'll need things like the sealant, the bradawl, I don't know, the tape measure, maybe for measuring the area outside. There's a few things there I'm not sure. And you need this thing here in spades. Patience. I would be interesting, this bit here about if help is required, seek professional advice within store. Well, the thing is, these things are all bought online, so I'm not sure what store you go to, and I would actually challenge the company in New Zealand to have a go at building this and see how they get on. So the first thing, you can see the parts are all listed here, and then it goes through page by page. Reminded me of Lego construction, actually, in that it just shows you the parts and sort of, how they might go together. There's no kind of like, it doesn't sort of say like, any logic to how you might do it. And some of these diagrams are really small. And so, I have built the door and the window. Those are the first two pieces that you build. these two things here. So they're ready to go. They're very light, so I hope it all goes together strong because, yeah, they'd be airborne no time at all in strong wind. Yeah, so I've done the door, done the window, and I've kind of got this thing. Now, this was really, look, I mean, these drawings here are really small, and this, see how close those things are together? Yeah. Yeah, very close together, really, really tricky to get your fingers in here. You know, in the end, the last ones we had to kind of force on because you just couldn't, you know, they're so close together. It was just real nightmare to get the bloody things together. These edges are really sharp. It does warn you about that. Very sharp. So just something to be very mindful of. There was warnings about that, so I'm not worried about that. I'm just confirming that it's the truth. But yeah, these little corner things are an utter bastard to get on. And having someone else to hold these while you're doing it, really helpful. These were okay. But yeah, having a second pair of hands just to steady things while you get them together is actually quite useful. Yeah, and as I've said in the pictures here, putting these bits together is where you are very much likely to lose your shit. So patience and deep breaths and probably the right tools will be quite helpful. Okay, so the next thing we're going to try and tackle is getting these two middle pieces on. And it looks like we're chucking some of these little bolts down these corners, and jumping ahead, it looks like they're going to be used to hold the pieces for the shelves on. Not that it's telling you this, it's just sort of my interpretation of it. So I need all that lot there. So I've got my 9, my 10 and 4 11s. I've got my 2 B3s and my 4 B4s and however many nuts and bolts, the smaller F4 nuts and bolts I need for this. I'm already looking at this going, not sure how easy it's going to be to put this on to the back there without somebody holding it. And he's no good to hold it. Yeah, so I'll give it a go. Could be entertaining. Could be throwing in the towel quite quickly. Also, I don't quite know what happened to the spacing and punctuation of this bit here, but yeah, not quite sure. The spacebar obviously wasn't working that day that they typed this one up. And yeah, this is the next phase now to carry on with this frame. So we'll see how we get on with it. Actually, it wasn't too bad to get that on. Just leant it against the corner while I get my little wrench to tighten it up. This one here. Now, this is going to go on here to tighten it up. I'm obviously going to straighten it up. Oh, this one? Yeah, this one. And I'm going to lift up that bracket. So you see if I can set up the phone so you can see what I'm doing. Oh, bollocks. No idea if that's going to be any good. So yeah, I need to stay there. Just do it a bit more with my fingers. Sharp. Ooh. Okay, seems to be holding. Might straighten that up with the spirit level. Okay, not too bad now that I know what I'm kind of in for with this. I haven't really tightened it, but it's holding for now. Okay, so I've got both the middle front and back bars in here. and looking pretty level, so that's good. So yeah, I'll be honest, not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Helps that I'd already tackled it on the corners. The instructions talk about putting these F4s down each of the corners, these guys here. But of course, when you look at the corners, you have to figure out, is it that channel there or that channel there? Yeah, so a little bit of a trick. I think, looking ahead to the way that these shelf brackets go, that's a clue to them needing to go into the sides, not into the back and front. But yeah, a little bit of unclear instructions there. Anyway, we'll see how we go. Now, to put these side shelf brackets in, there's actually nothing to guide you about how high up or down these sides to actually fit them. So I'm just going to have to take a stab in the dark, I think, and have a look and then measure it and fit the shelves and check that they're actually level. So I can't find any reference to you know, what the process is for figuring out where to put those shelves. So I'm assuming it's just your personal preference, but here, it'll be an absolute nightmare to alter after the thing's constructed. In fact, I don't think it'll be possible. So yeah, not really sure about this. We'll figure it out. So I've opted to measure and mark each of these at 50 centimeters from here or here. Each one of these as I go around, and that way I'm just going to use that as my height for that bottom shelf, so hopefully that's okay. So I've got my first shelf bracket on at that 50 centimeter mark. These are, yeah, quite fiddly in this corner here. Getting your fingers in there is pretty hard, but anyway, got there in the end. A little bit of swearing and it's pretty good. So I'm going to work with 50 centimeters for now, and obviously put the lower shelf bracket on first, because otherwise you might have fed your your bolt down and you won't be able to get it up. So yeah, just a suggestion that you do the lower one first. Don't feed both of the bolts down until you're ready to use them down this channel. Yeah, you could end up with one being stuck down there with no purpose. Yep, one shelf bracket, rail, whatever you want to call it, installed at approximately 50 centimeters, pretty level, so it's good. Haven't done it up too tight in case I decide it's too high or too low. So fiddly getting these nuts on in here. I've dropped two of them down there. Annoying. Yeah, so measuring these corners and choosing a height works fine, but not for these middle bits, as I've discovered. Yeah, I'll explain. I've now gone ahead and put the shelf on so that I can determine where to put these fittings here, because measuring doesn't work because of this bit and this bit. It's fine in the corners, but here and here, no good. So I've got it on. It's more or less level. So now I'll just bring this thing up here. Oops. And, oh, I can't see it. Screw it in at this position here. So I've got to this stage and I'm really having to think about whether I'm happy with the height of these shelves, because now's really the time to make that decision about whether they're at the right height for when I use it as a greenhouse. I can still, you know, loosen off and change those shelf rails there and here in the middle. I haven't attached these middle ones for this one yet. I think this top one's probably okay. When you think about standing here and putting pot plants on here and here. I think I'm going to drop that bottom shelf maybe by 10 centimeters. It's still quite good to have a bit of space down here. I guess it depends what you're growing. If you want space for taller plants at the bottom, great, but I'm not sure I need it that tall. I'm also thinking about when there's a sliding door on here, how can I access that back corner? If this is too low down, it's going to be really tricky to reach in there. So that's another consideration, is if I drop this down, it's going to be harder for me to kind of semi-crawl in and reach that corner. So, yeah, I'm just going to figure that out and make the necessary changes. So I've slightly adjusted that bottom shelf down. So now, and I'm pretty happy for me personally with those heights of this top shelf, the bottom shelf, or the middle, depending on how you look at it, and the ground, the bottom shelf, or yeah, the base. This distance to the shelf here from here is about 45, which makes it what off the ground. Let's have a look. 45 centimeters from the base. Can't do this one-handed, I'm useless. What's that? About 58 centimeters to that shelf, and then it's another, I think about 35. Yeah, 36 centimeters up. I mean, it doesn't really matter what it is, whatever works for you, really. But I think I'm going to be happy to have spent some time figuring this out and adjusting it before I go any further, because the shelves and the instructions don't get put on until much later. So if you don't try it now, I think you'll be in trouble later. Having sorted out where the shelf rails go and the brackets to hold them, the next step appears to be putting the polycarbonate sheets in on the left and right. The way I look, that's actually left and that's right, because this is the front. So it will be interesting to see how they're labelled. Yeah, because that makes no sense to me at all. This says, yeah, that says left, that says right. But anyway, we'll figure it out. Sure enough, the instructions actually match how they're labelled. So that does say P4L, which is the same as that, which by my reckoning goes on the right, but at least they're different shapes, so I really can't get it wrong because the top is on an angle. So it looks like we're ready to peel that protection off and put them in. Okay, so we've got those polycarbonate sheets in as per the instructions. Bit of a rookie error though. I couldn't get them in because of the ceiling height, so I had to lay it down on its side to slide them in. Not the end of the world, but yeah, just there's quite a lot of flex in this frame at this point, so you have to be bloody careful when you do that. So yeah, lesson learned. Okay, so now we're up to this bit here. More tiny pictures that I'll be figuring out, and these are the things that I'll be using apparently. The 12R piece slides on quite easily onto this here. You need to put your F4 bolts on before you can before you put it in place, so that you can actually do it up. This one and there's one down here as well that I'll have to. There's one here that I'll be sliding up to here, and I'll be putting on this piece. Yep, so these came together quite well on both sides, and I'm hoping I've got this bit here around the right way. Kind of tricky to see in the picture, and it's a bit hard to imagine, so yeah, hopefully this one and the one over there are on the right way around. So yeah, ready to turn the page. So now it looks like we're putting on the 2 polycarbonate panels at the back, and a cap for the top here, a piece here. I'm assuming that's what these three nuts and bolts will be for. I guess we'll see. Looks a bit like it in this little diagram here. Actually, this is a bit bigger than some of the other ones. They could have all been that size. That would have been helpful. Got the top piece on. Yep, not a bit fiddly to get it on, and also these very tight corners, tricky to hold the bolt up and screw on the tiny little nut. Eek. Right, up to putting the front polycarb panel on, the front left hand side one, and then a piece along the top here as well. So lots of errors on this page. This bit here looks fine, but down here they keep referring to B2s when there should be B5s, because that's actually a B2 there, not here. I don't know why they've used these F6 long ones in the corner. Maybe that will become apparent. But here they've called it F7 just to, like, you know, make life interesting. Yeah, it was okay. It was pretty fiddly putting that piece in along the top there. And yeah, we'll see what comes next. So now we come to putting the piece 15 on, which is the rail for the door to go on, and it makes this look like it just slides on. So we shall see. There's the piece there. So for putting this on here, you need those F6s that we did it over here on the corners loosened off. So you loosen them off, slide that on, and then tighten them back up again. Now that makes sense, but yeah, couldn't do it with them tightened up. And now ready to slide on the window from the top. Okay, lid's on. Lid feels pretty flimsy in this situation here with the screw that I'd forgotten to put in earlier that this uses to hold it open. Not honestly sure I'm going to use that, but we'll see. And I'm not going to worry too much until it's in its final resting place, but yeah, that's all right. And this very, very good diagram with full explanation tells us we put the door on. Door's on. Ooh. Seems to go okay. Ooh. Try not to overshoot it. And lastly, a bunch of plastic covers, a couple of screws, and we put in the shelves. So in the end, these are all the things that I needed to assemble this greenhouse. I used that a little bit, probably could manage without it, but yeah, got a few leftover bits and pieces. Pretty sure they're spares. Here it is in situ, with a few of my native plant seedlings in it. I've only just set it up out here, so yeah, it's quite good. I'm not sure how some of these smaller pots will go, but this is a problem with most greenhouses. You've got to find something to put them on, but that's all good. And I like to put a thermometer in so I can keep check. I mean, there's nothing exciting at the moment because it's only just been put here. 15 degrees, it's pretty much ambient. These can stay down there and then they can get a bit taller. They don't need the warmth. Yeah, that's it, done deal, finished.